Tēnā koe, tēnā kōrua, tēnā koutou. It's Katrina Hiramoana Simon here on October the 11th, approximately 2:45 p.m. in the afternoon, 2016. I'm about to walk back to the place that I board shortly to pick up my car and come back on site because I'm moving into one of the flats here, or one of the rooms they have for students and others to rent here at Te Wharewānanga o Awanui Arangi, Whakatāne. It's time for me to get accommodation close by. I'm starting to tire and need to have a little bit of a moi in the middle of the day, maybe even a couple of times, especially when you're writing up fast track as I'm attempting to do, and get this full thesis draft in prior to the 23rd of December 2016. I'm on track, and I just thought I'd report in early. You have to be a step ahead on this waka, and it's what I've learnt over the last challenging 8 years with my two tangata whaiora sons and other son, from complete family breakdown to advanced recovery, the whānau case study of this doctorate. To be here, sometimes I find unbelievable, considering where we have been as whānau. I acknowledge that at this time, and my fingers are crossed that my health will keep up. I'm knocking on health, the concern of health waka door, and hopefully I won't keel over. But anything's possible as I make this recording. It's not about being fatalistic, it's about being realistic. My health has taken one hell of a toll over the last 8 years, and but I must do this work. I absolutely must, on behalf of my whānau and I, as we reintegrate in with society, whatever that is, to be honest. What is community? What is whānau? What is society? Well, we're at the beginning of a long journey, and I have not even started my own recovery proper. So the engagement of high level post-traumatic stress in this write-up period has been right up there, and I will keep on the journey to final full thesis draft 1. Fingers crossed that I won't have to do any more. However, you know, you put it all out there, you do your best, and that's all you can do. And I'm certainly not going to do anything more than the bare minimum, and that's really what is at the crux of this. These 3 submissions. This final kōrero brings it all together. If there's any more further points, but I hope that this is straight to you, as I've been continually letting you know where I'm coming from, my honesty, my transparency. There's nothing to hide. It's all out there. And that's what this is about as well. The skeletons are out. If you like to look at it that way, you're stripped bare anyway. So that's what happens in chronic mental health. In coming out and reintegrating, well, you can't reintegrate, in my view, without acknowledging where you've been. at least, as you pack up Purupuruyaki and get ready for the next part of the journey. So thank you everyone out there for tuning in, and in the upcoming slides will be my reflections. Upcoming, it's still a couple of months away from when I'll be talking with you next, but if there are any major developments, I will be joining you at the next slide. Unless here otherwise, I will be back speaking with you close to the 23rd of December 2016. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa. Hello everyone, it's Katrina Simon here on November the 4th, 2016. The time is 20 minutes to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I have had so many things happen, and I thought it would be good to touch base now. Everything is on task, which is the main thing to report in. It is a PhD waka where, you know, you're learning as well in the process of translation, in doing a second doctorate, in going from one world to the other, re-socialising, recovering from post-traumatic stress, and now making a concerted effort to the best of my ability to apply for jobs. I have my first job interview in Wellington on the 22nd of November. I have to now start looking outwards. Where to from here after this full thesis draft submission? The cat's in the bag now, basically. There will be a full thesis draft. The remaining chapters, the structures there, the contents there, it's about putting it together now. I have my final research presentation in a couple of days, and my health is a lot better in one way, but I'm always on tender hooks. I have to look after myself. You come into this writing up journey fatigued and with everything else that you're carrying, but so that finger has to be on the pulse for your longevity. Things are looking good at the moment, early November, and I will be keeping the fingers crossed. I went home to Taupo, which was a good thing for a week, kept writing away to the best of my ability. There was a lot to do. I had to go for a WINS appointment. That's always very traumatic. Going in there was some tears shed. There's all this reality of being unwaged on a benefit, impoverished, that causes a lot of stress underneath everything as you are writing up. I wasn't looking forward to that appointment. I got through it, and I went back and did the lawn, and visited a few whānau. All of that's important for where to from here. I may go back for another couple of days just to do the lawn again. I mean, there's no one backing me up there. That has to be done. The future's starting to beckon. Luke, I took him across on the 26th of October. to Odyssey House, so both of my sons are now in Odyssey House. Luke's doing very well. He's now 9 weeks smoke free, working with staff collaboratively. Erin's doing well, having a few minor setbacks, but still there, still fighting for recovery. And we are at the beginning of a long journey of recovery at an advanced point for chronic whānau, mental health whānau. We are the lucky ones. We are very aware of that, and this doctorate is an important component for us in terms of that success and achievement. We owe mental health a lot to succeed. That's how I see it. This is part of the koha back. I will join you again probably in a couple of weeks as I'm starting to pull this thesis together, finish those remaining chapters, and it's highly possible I may be able to submit a lot earlier than I had thought, but I have to be careful, because though things are looking good, there may be some extra writing needed that will push me in closer to the deadline than what I had anticipated. That's what happens when you're writing and editing. You never know what spanner can be in the works, what can come out of what can come out and surprise you. So that's it from me now, and I will join you at the next slide, most probably in a couple of weeks' time. Kia ora koutou anō. Kia ora anō, everyone. Katrina Simon here. It's November the 14th, 2016. The time is 9:15 a.m. in the morning. I'm on the second level of the library at Te Whare Wānanga o Awanuiarangi Whakatane. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I got the final research presentation out of the way. That went really well. I've finished that portfolio, started work on the chapters, the remaining chapters. Then I've had to find alternative accommodation. It's been a bit sketchy for me. I've been staying at a student's house, which has been very nice to be accommodated. I'm here now waiting for my key to be ready for me to get my room squared away. I've got a lot of luggage in my car. For my last month, I've got accommodation at Amorangi, o Rongo o Awa Awaramai. I'm saying a few things that are incorrect, terms, names, and my apologies for that. I've been calling it Amorangi, but it's Rongo o Awa, the complex where you have accommodation. That's going to be very important for this last month. There's a lot of work to do. And in the previous slide I said about the possibility of submitting early. I don't think so. I think I need to maximise every single day to provide the best quality product that I can do for the 23rd of December. I think for me at this stage, I want to work right to the deadline. There are a lot of other things happening for this month. You can hear staff downstairs. They've just had their karakia and a few of them are still talking away. On the 26th of November I've got to attend the Roto Iti number 15 Trust AGM. I got a little bit of money from that trust, and I need, it has been requested of me to turn up to the AGM. I must do that, so I've got to go to Rotorua. I've also got to go to a family member's unveiling on the December the 3rd. I have a job interview on November the 22nd in Wellington, so that's going to take out a day. And also I have to go and visit my sons at Odyssey House in Auckland, which takes up a day, and it's exhausting. I went in the weekend. I was up at 6 and I didn't get back until 8 p.m. I hired a car from Taupo. I went home, had to do the lawn again, and it was exhausting. But Erin was starting to melt down a bit in Odyssey, so I knew I had to go back and go up there and also see Luke. He's doing extremely well at Royal Oak in Auckland. A very excellent AOD residential. These are the best in the country. We are extremely lucky, and this is important for the doctorate, their success throughout the writing up in the submission stage of the first final draft, right through to the final parts of the process. We have to be succeeding, and we are on that waka. So I need to keep my fingers on the pulse for my sons, and if they need me, I'm there. I've got a hui with the manager of Erin's residential, a progress update. He must stay in there at a bare minimum of a year and a half, and though it may tax him at times, and I need to reinforce to him, there is nowhere to go. You must stay in the only place that will provide the housing, the accommodation, the care, the specialist care, the daily program. All of the things that I write about in chapters 5 and 6 that are lacking out in mental health care today. The coming off those drugs. You can't do it out in the community. The smoking, again, you can't do that out in the community. This opportunity for my sons is absolutely beyond words. To have the audacity to say to Mum, I would like to go out, is something that needs to be hit home to that tangata whaiora. There is nowhere to go. There is nothing out in the community, and you must do the time, do the crime. It may be boring, it may be a whole lot of things, but you need to suck it in like we all do and do what needs to be done. Well, I'm pleased to say that tangata whaiora was put back into where he needed to be getting his head into, the reality checks of life. You puff away on marijuana or whatever for 8 years, and if he's lucky, he may detox and get sorted, rehabilitate in no more, a year and a half is the bare minimum. Then where to? Well, it's a lifelong commitment, and as I said, and I've written in the chapters on mental health practice, I will not be funding druggies and smokers ever again. I have gone off tangent. This is about updating you all out there where things are at. As you can hear, I'm into writing up about mental health practice in chapters 5 and 6. It strikes a chord. We're living and breathing it now. There are reality checks is what I'm getting at. We have to perform. It all comes into the thesis, and I just wanted to update you. In just tying the slide up, this is an update in the second week of November. I've got a lot to do. I want to do the best full thesis final draft that I can. This is the 2 online submissions are complete, bar this oral. There's nothing more there, so I'm really rapt that I'd say around about 75% of this thesis submission has been completed. I've got to pull finger out to remain focused, to remain on task, to block out any attempt to put me off my zone, because it's not going to happen. My fingers are crossed for everything, and anything can tip it. I mean, here I was staying at a student's house. She was up with her children, 2 of them, at 3 o'clock in the morning for a tsunami warning. And then off they drove, and it was earlier than that, 2 o'clock in the morning. And you know, and in the South Island they had these tsunami incidences, and they were running around the house like maniacs, packing bags and all this sort of stuff. I stayed where I was. I wasn't going to move. I needed the sleep. I'm not moving on this doctoral waka unless it's death row. If it's pending death, well, that's not good enough. She wanted me up and out, but I remained where I was. They went off at 3 o'clock in the morning. I went back to sleep, thank the Lord above, and I heard them come back at 7 o'clock into the oil. I thought, well, if you're going to die, you're going to die, but at least if I hear a siren, I'll go to high ground. Well, that was a good decision, because they came back at 7. They'll be exhausted for the day, and that's the thing. Nothing can put me off this waka. I have to maintain health. I'm going back to my swimming twice a day. I have to keep in control. I've been there, done that. Nothing is going to stop this student on this final month unless it's a major one. So thank you for listening. This is my update mid-November. There are 4 slides left. I think I'm going to do 1 a week to provide an update, but also to tie in the thesis, tie it all together. As a final point, to bring it back to the crux of the contribution to knowledge, there is the intellectual, there is the pragmatic, and there is the experiential. I argue that in combination there is the argued contribution to breaking ground in this field. It is a combination, as I say, of those areas working together, and that's what I'm trying to tie up each time I corridor with you. A interweaving of student proficiencies, competencies in relation to this area of research. So that's it from me. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa.
Kia ora, good evening. It's Katrina Simon on
the 19th of November 2016. It is 10 minutes to 10 p.m. in the evening. You'll have to excuse me, I do have a bit of a sore throat, and so I'm a bit croaky. I thought I had an instinctual feeling this was an appropriate time for me to make this recording. There's been a lot, as usual, that's happened, and I find it very helpful to reflect where I'm at now, what's been happening, what's the whakaaro, and I want to share a few things that I think are important for the examination of this thesis. I have to say it, I haven't mentioned it yet, but as a doctoral candidate, with the student entitlements we have, I have to say this. It has been, I suppose the word is frustrating, to be treated and to be serviced the same as undergraduate students. You know, it's one challenge after the other in terms of the technicalities that you face. You have to do so much extra work. You know, I've had it this week with not being able to download documents over here at the accommodation, not Amorangi, Rongo o Awa, Aroha Mai. And it just adds to that extra workload. There's so many constraints on this laptop, this Wānanga laptop that I have. I can reflect back on the photograph that I needed for chapter 3. It took about 5 days because I was a student treated the same as an undergraduate, not having staff entitlements. I am mentioning it now for consideration because I've had to make quite a number of cuts and losses, you know, on I Kura Kāinga, for example, the platforms, the portfolios. I've had to make cuts and losses there. You know, I was going to do Zoom, I was going to do a whole lot of stuff, but due to my limited student, the same as undergraduate entitlements, I haven't been able to get the same sorts of things that staff do, that I think doctoral candidates are entitled to have, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I want to mention it in the slide because it's important for the examination of this thesis, the cuts and losses that have had to be made. I intended a lot, but I've had to slice that out. You know, one could say time, you could have taken a lot more time, but time is money. Time for an unwaged candidate like myself, there's never enough time. I've got to get back to the workforce. Other people that work and blah 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 are in different circumstances, but this all relates to this thesis. Time is of the essence. Time is everything in today's world. Time is money. Time, you just don't have enough time. But the thing about having the sort of entitlements that we have here, for me, on the same level of undergraduate students, I think is unacceptable. However, I've battled through it, and the outcome is what you've got with this thesis. You know, what you've got with the oral submissions and the research activity mahi. You know, there's a whole lot in there. I'd like to talk more about that in examination, should I get to that phase, whenever. There's a lot in there. This is what I mean by cuts and losses. You know, one of the things I may want to say to staff, for example, in living in this student accommodation, there's a lot of bits and pieces to this accommodation. It's not easy. There's, you know, the carpet has caused me to have some extra coughing, and I've asked for the vacuum cleaner and so on and so forth. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. But I'm making the most of it. You know, it's been one move after the other. It's been a highly transient journey for me. I'd love to elaborate on that if there was an opportunity. These are all the challenges in this particular thesis, and I think it's important to take into consideration. Nothing is ideal, but where have I, you know, done the best that I could do is what this whole kaupapa is about in this particular debate that I'm putting to you in this slide. I'm starting to wear down. I'm starting to feel it, but I'm battling on, and there will be a product at the end of it. You know, it could be a lot better, but it is what it is going to be. And for me, the huge achievement will be getting something in, something that's the bare minimum within the circumstances, I think, is to the level that's needed, arguably. And again, a point of debate. It's been a challenging week. I've got my toothache back again. I've had a course of antibiotics going. There's coughing. There's a whole lot. But I want to mention one more thing, because I think it's important. You know, one of the things that I've really appreciated in the PowerPoint mix opportunity is at least talking. Talking is so crucial for academic mahi. You know, you don't have an opportunity to talk much in this education context. I find it very beyond words. You know, here I am, it's Saturday evening. There's another student a couple of doors along, but the barriers are up for her. She doesn't want to have any conversation. That's very clear, and her behaviour has been accordingly positioned in that way. I find it absolutely beyond words. You can't work in isolation like that, but you know, I've been there, done that. I can do it myself here. But I'm just absolutely amazed with other students in their behaviour. You know, we should be working together as students in a doctoral culture. Yet you're in an environment where people don't make an effort to talk with one another, to, you know, have some interchange academically, you know, in order to benefit everyone, to benefit her, to benefit me, to benefit. But here I am, you know, talking through this medium as my opportunity to academify my whakaaro, yet there are opportunities around me, but I can't infringe on another student's space, which I won't, unless it's a mutually beneficial kaupapa. And I respect what other people are putting out to me, and I won't cross those boundaries, but I find it bizarre. I find it bizarre, the culture. Here we are, Māori, but I'm amazed at this place, and I have to share it with you. the lack of whakawhanaungatanga and the tikanga, I'm just taken back by it, to be honest, and I did want to just put it into this slide as part of the upcoming examination korero that may, come in here. It's appropriate. I'm doing a wānanga second doctorate. I am Māori. This is all part of our journey. I'm doing a topic that's highly relevant for Māori people everywhere. The way that, there isn't any interest in me in particular, I find, I'm not offended by it, but I find it bizarre. If I had someone like me around, I would really want to be talking to me. And there is a lot of interest, and I have people wanting to talk, but in this particular wānanga waka, I'm really taken aback. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, which I accept. I've learned a lot here. I've learned a lot, and it's helped me to fine-tune myself and to adapt appropriately to an environment, and I think I can transfer that to any environment out there. There is a lot happening in systems. This system has its particular way that it operates. I think I've accommodated and worked within it effectively, and I'm going to suck it in hard for these last 3 to 4 weeks. I had a little bit of a korero with a staff. She didn't disclose to me she was a staff member from marketing at the beginning of this week. Shared a little bit with her about my experience and confidence. And once she heard that what the crust of my kaupapa was about, her mouth zipped up, because she knew exactly what I was talking about. Here she was talking about the wānanga in a marketing way, but once I hit the key issue of doctoral services, boy, did her mouth shut down. And she said to me, kia kaha, and I thought, well, thank you for that. Yes, I will continue on the waka, and I have sucked it in, and I will continue to do that in my remaining 3 to 4 weeks. It is truly one of the most memorable experiences I've had in an education provider, but it's been a good one overall. So much learning, so much personal development, and it certainly isn't me to be around a student like where I'm at now, and maintaining a non-academic type of relationship, whatever that is. But that's the way the cookie crumbles in a place like this. You just go with the flow, and that's what I'm going to do in the remainder of my time here. I want to survive, I want to get through, and I will do what needs to be done. Ngā mihi nui, kia koutou katoa, good evening. Kia ora, it's Katrina Simon on Friday, the 25th of November at 10 a.m. in the morning. I've just had a tooth extracted, and it's another great experience for me in terms of this doctorate and the challenges and the learning. I just want to share that it is, I know I keep saying beyond words, but when you're a beneficiary and you have toothache, sometimes you have to wait 2 to 3 weeks. You've got to go for appointments, you've got to, go through a whole lot before you get your tooth out. And being used to that, I'm just blown away how, because I have money, how easy it is to get your tooth out. And I feel a little bit depressed about it, I suppose, is from what you've gone through to where you are now. It is an amazing thing to be where I'm at, and I have to suck it in. I have to keep going. I wanted to do this recording now because I am battling depression. I'm battling worry about the workforce. I'm battling a whole lot of stuff. It's lonely here. It really is. It's isolating. And I've got and I'm just looking at my calendar. I've got 3 weeks to go. Around about 3 weeks. It's going to be a tough 3 weeks for me because every day is a lonely day. And as part of the feedback, I suppose, there's a lot of things I could have said in the student evaluation, but compared to any other education provider that I've been in, the isolation here is something that I find really challenging, especially in going from one world to another. But I am going to suck it in and keep battling. I'm feeling physically compromised at the moment. Obviously, I've had a tooth out. I had a tough night's sleep again, and but the passion is still there. Can I do it in the dying moments? I've got a lot to do, but I can't go fast-paced. I've got to give my mouth time to heal. I've got to get in the car tomorrow and go to Taupo, go to Rotorua, to the Roto Iti number 15. That will be my last trip. The boys, I've had a few bits and pieces with them happening, but they are doing very well. They need me still. It confronts you because you're around a whole lot of people that are in different worlds, and I'm battling back from rock bottom. It is an amazing experience. It's all part and parcel of it, and I am going to I'm going to go and get a coffee and wait for that. I am addicted to coffee. It is my vice. But though I'm not meant to have one, I am going to go and get one and let it cool down, just so I can get through and try and do some work. I'm going to tie up the other recording and make a final couple of points. I listened to this presentation series of slides, and I do talk a lot, and I do problem solve my way through talking with you. For me, it's beneficial, though it may be long-winded. In that respect, I thought in the final slide I'm going to summarize key points and key arguments on this thesis. I repeat a lot of things. But it's all part of my problem solving, and based on time constraints, I think it's important that I nip it in the bud today, put this final recording online, and get on to the written mahi proper. So that's all from me, and I will see you at the next slide. I'm going to have a little break time, and I'll be back soon to tie this presentation series up. Kia ora. Tēnā koe, tēnā korua, tēnā koutou. Kua mutu e naenei. My name is Katrina Simon. My student ID number is 2150888. I'm a second doctoral candidate at Te Whare Wānanga o Awanuiarangi. My PhD thesis is titled Chronic Mental Health, Modernisation and Historical Trauma, a Plan for Research with Māori. It is 11 o'clock on the 25th of November 2016. Bar this recording, I have submitted online 2 portfolios for examination and for supervision, for my supervisors to have a look at. They're all ready to go, and I will tie this up, transfer it to video, and that will complete those 2 work streams. As mentioned, the thesis submission will be forwarded online to supervisors before Christmas. I argue that it is the bare minimum requirement, and that's all I've aimed for an Indigenous Studies PhD at Te Whare Wānanga o Awanuiarangi Whakatāne. There are pragmatic, experiential and intellectual aspects to these works that intertwine within them. The student proficiencies, the time that it's taken, the ability to go from one world to the other, the process of translation, the achievements of tangata whaiora and whānau. It all adds in, and the writing. It's been an amazing journey, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it with all the challenges, and it will be something I will remember for the rest of my life. I gave it everything I could. I was transparent, I was honest, I was myself, and that's all I can say to you all. Thank you for listening to my kōrero. It's been very important as part of this thesis. I wish you all well, and that's all from me. Ngā mihi nui, kia koutou katoa.